Separate spaces. Separate spaces allows the mind to come back to a home, meaning that when you live in a car or van, you are always in the same space. Your car or van is your transportation and your shelter. It's your car and your home. When you have a travel trailer, or if you would have a tow vehicle, if you lived in a motorhome, you have separate spaces. You have a transportation vehicle and then you have a dwelling. So if you dropped off a travel trailer at a campground, took your car, went around town throughout the day to do your business and to do your personal things, and then you come back to your travel trailer, or you come back to your main motorhome if you had a tow vehicle, you have, when you come back to that campground or property or whatever it is, you have a separate dwelling. That's the separate space allows the mind to engage in a sanctuary, in a home. Okay. When you travel everywhere you go in a car or van and you live in it, there's no separation. So you're constantly in tune, like you don't have any space as far as like separation space. And there's something to be said for that. So like if you were choosing in between a car, van, or a Class B with no other tow vehicle versus like, if you had a travel trailer, you would unhitch, or if you had a big motorhome and then you'd pull a tow vehicle, you have two things. If you're looking at just having one thing, living out of a car, van, or a small Class B, then you're not going to have a separate space. Your living quarters is your everyday, daily errands quarter. You never separate. And there's something that the mind is not engaging in a level of disconnect between home and business, personal. It's all mixed together. Now, I like, for 3 years, I've lived out of my car, out of my Jeep here. And I like that everywhere I go, I have everything I own. It allows for like less anxiety. I don't have to worry about if I forgot something. Because I remember that when I would go to work and I had a home, I would go to work, I would get there, and I would forget something. And I'd be like, oh my God, I got to drive, a half hour back home or whatever. Now, no matter what I'm doing, if I forget something, it's in my car, which is always with me. My home is always with me. So I like that. And to me, there's a lot of benefit to having your home everywhere you go and no separate space, as far as like having to go back to another space that you own. However, I will say, there is something that home is everywhere you go when you live in your car, van, or small Class B. But when you have a travel trailer or a motorhome with a tow vehicle, that level of separation allows you to feel that when you come back to the campground or when you come back to the property you own, it makes you feel like you've arrived home. And there is something, whether it's because that's the way society is and it feels soothing, natural, there is something to be said for that. That you're able to get, disconnect from it and then come back to it. When you never have that disconnect, that separation, your home is everywhere you go, but you're kind of like, am I home? Or, again, the pro is you have everything you own always with you when you live in your car, van, or if you had a small Class B. The negative is you never have the separation in your mind of a personal time away from your house. And then when you come back at the end of the day, there's something to be said where I'm home, Now, if you live in your car, van, or RV, you don't get that separation, but you also don't have the entanglement if you have bad neighbors at a campground or bad neighbors, period, if you own property somewhere. So the flexibility is the biggest reward for living in the singular space, whether it be your car, van, or Class B motorhome. Because when you have the ability to start your car and leave because everything you have is always with you, you don't have a separate thing, there is a level of peace and strength that comes from that you're empowered, that you're not dependent on some other entity, okay? The sacrifice with that lifestyle of which I live, the sacrifice is you never really feel like you come home, and there's a reward for that, but everything has that trade-off. If you want that disconnect, if you want a travel trailer and drop it off at the campground and then go throughout your daily day and then come back. If you want that, the price you pay is that you're going to always have to plan your trips with campgrounds. You're going to have to tow something, less fuel efficiency, a little bit more cumbersome. Certainly if you get a small travel trailer, it's not that bad, but you have to think a little bit more about your driving routes, how you drive, how you pull in certain areas, the fuel efficiency, everything. So it's always the give and take. It's what do you want to give up and what do you get? Okay. When you have one singular thing, a car, van, or a Class B, and I use the Class B because it's like basically a van with all the amenities if you get a small one. A Class C or a Class A, which are bigger motorhomes, to have that as your only vehicle is very unlikely, very inefficient. So I'm putting the Class B motorhome lumped in with a van because all it is a van with all the amenities. So when you live in that singular thing, the car, van, or Class B motorhome, what you're getting is maximum flexibility. What you're giving up is a level of disconnect, a level of a sanctuary when you come home at the end of the day. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. When you live in a travel trailer, a Class C with a tow vehicle or a Class A with a tow vehicle, you give up some of your flexibility because you have to plan your trips, you have to make reservations at parks, or you have to find a park that's open. What you gain is a level of home feeling that you can drop your rig off, whether it's a travel trailer or the other bigger motorhomes, at the campground. You can go live your life and then you come back to what is like a home. And so you have a level of normalcy in your daily routine. What you give up is some flexibility. Okay. So I think that that's an evaluation that each individual is going to have to make based on what they're willing to give up and what they want to gain. There's nothing in life that you always get and you don't give up anything. Every decision is a trade-off. You trade something off to get something back. So it all comes down to, do you want to trade some of your flexibility for some more comforts and stability? Or are you willing to sacrifice some comforts and stability for maximum flexibility? That's the breakdown. That's the breakdown of choosing to live a nomadic life and the different levels and different ways in which you can live the nomadic life with the different RVs or different vehicles that you would choose to select or not choose to select. But from my experience, three years living on the road full time with no official home base or property, that's what you think about and that's what you experience. And, that's what you'll have to decide for your individual circumstance. Everyone's an individual. So hopefully this video helped a little bit, talk you through some of it. If it did, I appreciate if you click that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not. Check out my playlist and my Patreon account. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace and love.